All right, we'll get started. We have, I guess, 60 participants, which is great. I'm going to go over the agenda. I want to say a couple of words, and then we'll move right into the agenda. The agenda, for those that don't have it, is we will approve the minutes. We'll get a treasurer's report. We'll get an IHP update. We'll get updates from the Fishers Island Club and from Jeannie Cook at the community center and from the village market. We're going to get a presentation on bylaws review by Dickie George and Michael Roberts if he's on. And we're going to get an update from Beth Cashel, who's the new neighborhood aide. And what I might just preface the beginning of the meeting with is, you know, for the last 12 months, it's been COVID, and there certainly are other things that are important to the island that we've worked on at the same time. And hopefully with vaccinations and the progress that's being made, we can refocus on some of the things that outside of just COVID. And we've done that by starting a project on looking at cost trends, which the ICB is working on. And there's been a review of our bylaws, which you'll hear about today. And I just thought it might be helpful, and whoever is not on mute, maybe they could be, if I just read the mission statement of the Island Community Board as at the beginning of this meeting. So it sort of puts us in the perspective. This summer of 2021 is hopefully going to be far better than the summer of 2020, but I think we were able to make the summer of 2020 through the hard work of all the people at the various organizations and at IHP, pretty successful, actually. So the mission of the Island Community Board is as follows. The Island Community Board promotes the economic, civic, and social welfare of the people of Fishers Island, New York. It carries out this purpose by serving as a forum for the discussion of issues affecting the life of the Fishers Island community at regular open meetings, by prioritizing these issues and by helping or coordinating with setting of goals, by developing action plans to address these issues and achieve these goals, and by submitting such plans to the ICB members for review and hopefully consensus. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that one of the things we are going to do with sort of the beginning of this year is we have a list of approximately, and Jane is not on, but approximately 600 people that are members of the ICB. And we have all of their emails. And if you are on, if you get an email from the ICB, you're a member. And if you have others that are not getting emails, then you're not on our list, and we'd love to get you on our list. So for those that don't get the email, if you, anybody on the call or others that you might talk to, hopefully we can get all those people on the list. I think it is somewhere around 450 or 460 seasonal emails. Some of those obviously represent 2 people or 3. And I think it is about 120 year-round, or 100 to 120 year-round emails, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we hope that we can continue to build the membership and build the participation. With that, let me go to the minutes. They were sent out to everyone. Beth is doing a remarkable job on these minutes. Beth, well, first, do we have any edits, changes, or comments on the minutes of the March 9th meeting? Whoever's not on mute, who's hearing, talking in the background, would they please put themselves on mute? Okay, since there are no edits, may I have a proposal to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Great.
Seconded.
Thank you, Meg. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved. Okay, Dickie, can we have the treasurer's report?
Yeah, treasury report is really quick. Today in our checking account, we have $3,710 after dispersing $1,200 for the payment to Mary Beth Guimaras. Thank you again, Mary Beth, for all the work that you do. All this happens because of Mary Beth. I just want everybody to know, and Willard, of course, but you know, he gets all the limelight. So we spent $1,200 there and an additional $43 for our phone bill. We have an additional account, which is PayPal, which we use to receive donations. We have $768 in there. And the only other thing I wanted to say about the treasurer's report, other than we are in fine financial condition, we can pay for what we're doing right now, is that please, everybody on the call here, please expect that we will come out to the community, as we did in particular last spring, with our annual appeal for support. Look, we're not going to stop asking for everybody's voluntary and organizational support, because hopefully your support will only improve the good work that the ICB is trying to do to support the Fishers Island community. So please look for that annual appeal coming out here in the next month or two. That's it, Willard.
Oh, thanks, Dickie. Or just send in a check in advance. That's fine too, and then get the appeal and send in a check again. We're not proud here. We're not embarrassed to ask for a little help. We spend about, I think, $8,000 a year all in and everything we do. Not a lot, but we have $3,000 right now, so we need to raise some money. Now we'll move on to the IHP update. Chris Ingram and the team, and I know Susie's going to participate in this as well, because I think Di may be not available. So Chris or Susie?
I guess I can go ahead first. Susie, if that's okay with you.
Yep, that's fine.
I'd start by congratulating all those people who were vaccinated on the island. You all may not know it if you weren't vaccinated, but this Sunday was the 2-week mark post second vaccination, which I'm sure was cause for quite a few celebrations around the island. I certainly enjoyed having dinner with some friends and family. And there's a lot that could be discussed about what's going on with the vaccine and such. But the truth of the matter is that we really haven't come up with any solid protocols for the island at this point. But as Dickie will probably alert us, organizations are certainly beginning to come up with various plans, and they are approaching me for some guidance. My basic guidance comes from the CDC, and I think the things that the directives that are probably most instructive are the travel directives, and that's probably one of the issues that is of big concern to most of the population, both year-round and summer. And to sum those up succinctly, I hope, the CDC seems to draw a line between those who are vaccinated and those who are not. Those who are vaccinated are able to travel domestically quite freely now without any pre-testing or any post-testing or quarantine. In contrast, those who have not been vaccinated, which includes, unfortunately, most of our children, at least at this point up to age 16, the recommendations are still that they get tested 1 to 3 days before travel, and then quarantine for a full week after arriving at the destination, with testing 3 to 5 days after arrival. So those are still quite onerous requirements. And of course, this needs to be discussed, through the IHP and through the ICB and through the organizations, but I can't but not think that some version of that will be applicable to travel to and from the island. How we go about monitoring that is a whole different question, and that needs to be discussed, fully. And again, the gateway may not be actually at, say, the ferry, but rather the requirements that each institution on the island will require of their members, be it the store or the clubs or all of the others. It came to my attention today, something that the New York State government is promoting, which is called the New York Excelsior Pass. I don't know if anybody has seen this, but what it essentially is a digital form of proof of vaccination, which they are suggesting could be used as sort of a passport to events. Looking at it very briefly, I could see already that there are some problems with it. First of all those people on the island are not recognized as of today in their database, in the government database. And what also seems to be problematic is that there doesn't seem to be a way to enter data from any other states. So, of course, many people have been vaccinated outside of New York State. I don't know how that pass could be useful to them, and therefore to a good portion of our population. I'm just going to close by saying there's lots more to be hashed out. And as the science is changing and studies are completing, we're learning more and more about the effectiveness of the vaccine and its expected duration of efficacy. So I think we can expect, therefore, that we won't have any hard and fast recommendations till, probably quite late in the game. Although, we may have to land on some things just simply to keep things moving. And so therefore, this time next month, I hope to be able to, be more definitive about things. And that there will be some lively discussion between now and then too. So Susie?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I had a catch-up call with Di yesterday, and she said that they're still doing a fair amount of testing on the island, and they're the tests that we're getting through L&M. Her suggestion for those of you who, and you may have already done this, have already been vaccinated, is that you take a screenshot of your vaccination proof card and email it to Di at diana.schillo@lmhosp.org. Jane, can you post that for me, please?
Jane's not on, but Mary Beth
Mary
will.
Beth, will you post Di's email? It's important that we get it and get it into your charts, into your My Chart, for many reasons, for contact tracing, for all sorts of things. At this point, Chris and Di, and Chris, correct me if I'm incorrect, that people who were fully vaccinated 2 weeks after, you're saying that they don't need testing. But if you have children coming or grandchildren coming to your house that haven't been vaccinated, they definitely need to continue to test and follow the protocols that Chris has mentioned. And also anybody who isn't fully vaccinated, or somebody who isn't vaccinated at all, because there are some people who are choosing not to do it. The other thing that we want to stress is that everybody get vaccinated in the state where they're coming from. Do not expect that you can get it when you get to Fishers, or that New York State is going to somehow allow you to get a vaccination if you're not a New York State resident. So it's important that everybody do it where they are a resident. And I think that's all I have to say. I hope everybody's well and safe and doing okay.
Great. Thanks, Suze. Before we move on to the next topic, I just think that everybody on this call and everybody on the island and associated with the island needs to, we need a real shout out to the team that made these vaccinations on the island happen. I mean, it was an incredible amount of work, and the logistics going into getting the people here, I mean, onto the island from Long Island, and then dealing with the rain and the fog and having to have the plane take off on the return trip from Groton. And so, you know, it was Jane, it was Chris, it was Di and Dee, and on and on and on. And everybody on that team that went out to the cars in the pouring rain to give some people shots because they couldn't get out of their car. I mean, it just was, and I was back and forth with Jane a number of times during that Sunday. Hey, is the fog coming in? Are you going to be able to get off the island? You know, is this going to work? And it was remarkable. And I shout out to everybody at IHP and all the others that made it happen. Really, it's just incredible.
And I might add that Tom and Di Shillo and the whole Popeye crew really aided in the return to Long Island of all the vaccinators, because they had to take the Popeye over to Noank and then get in the ZNS bus and drive them to the airport. It was a monumental task. So please say thank you to Tom and Di when you see them.
Yeah, just amazing.
I'm gonna add one more level of thank you here, because I see both Tom and Ruthie DuPont and Candy Sanger on this call, and you know, for their generosity to help arrange Plane Sense to provide the aerial transportation that just, you know, swooped in all the vaccine for all the lucky people that got it. So thank you to Tommy, Ruthie, Candy. Thanks so much.
Good.
I'll take care of that, Dickie. Thank you.
And Peggy Weymouth.
Yeah, and Peggy Weymouth, who's not here on the call, but also deserves the.
But I also want to point out that Plane Sense very generously, after our initiation to them, very generously provided the aircraft and the crew as part of a courtesy to the island. Many of you know that the Pilatus, Plane Sense Pilatus, comes and goes all summer. There are a number of clients on the island, and they stepped right up to the table when they were asked if they would support this effort and followed through. And we're very grateful to the organization and to the company and to the folks at Plane Sense who gave us the courtesy of lending the aircraft to us for this particular purpose both times.
And can I, Chris, did the pilots get shots?
They did, as a matter of fact. A couple of the shots were saved, and they, I don't know, injected them en route or at the other side, but they also got it the second time around too. So yeah. I thought that
was really nice. That was really nice.
And I think the EMT crew was extremely important, amongst others, in doing the vaccine event. They were at each of the tables and were putting the shots in the arms. So thank you to them as well.
That's great. Thank you, everybody. Really, just a shout out to everyone. Summer protocols, Dickie.
Great, thanks, Willard. Just diving right into this, it's all about hearing it from the horse's mouths here. And I just wanted to alert some of the other people. We have a great group of island leaders that regularly attend these calls and are here with us. But as we look ahead toward the May meeting, Christian at Fishers Island School, Bonnie and Margaret with IPP, Dave Pollock with the Pequot, Tom DuPont with Fishers Island Yacht Club, Tom Sargent with the Conservancy, Pierce with the museum, John Britt with the library. We will look to hear from your organizations as you develop your organizational protocols in anticipation of this summer ahead. So, you know, this is the first reach out to all of you, but hopefully we could hear from some of you, if not all of you, in May. I'd like to ask Jeannie Cook to go first, if you might tell us what's going on at the community center. Thanks, Jeannie.
Hi, thank you so much for making this report possible. We're looking forward to this summer. And we look to the guidelines of IHP. We really are thankful for ICB's extended work on all of this. And it's amazing what a community does when it comes together, and it's extraordinary. And then there were volunteers there at the vaccine site, those 2 different dates. So everybody pulled together, and that's what's incredible about our island, and we unified. And so when I talk about the community center, I'm just going to let you know that the building is open and that our fitness center is actively being used. We have protocols in place. You must wear your mask when you enter the building. You sign in when you enter the building. If you're using the fitness center, you're going to see markers on the floor for social distancing with reference to 6 feet around the perimeter of the room. We ask you to wash your equipment before you use it, after you use it, and please know that we went to great extent for cleaning the gym daily, including fogging it twice a day. And we also, what else did I want to say? We are using MERV filters, so those will be, that's a work in progress, so we will be changing those filters monthly. And those are used by the hospital. So we have gone to a greater extent to provide a cleaner, friendly service. And we just ask you wash your hands on the way out and wear that mask and use common sense. But I'd like to say there is other things than just COVID. We have some programs in place, and we really hope that it's going to be a better summer than it was last year. There are no massages today, so that will be determined, but the bowling alley is rented out to family and cohorts only. And then we do have some programs. We have the market day that we're going to offer Memorial Day to Labor Day. We do anticipate that we'll have the Mahjong players Monday and Wednesday, and bridge we'll have beginning bridge. But this is going to be play at your own risk, enter the building, sign in with a mask, sign in, and use your common sense and play at your own risk. If you're uncomfortable, then leave and come back. And because it's just, it is at your own risk. But we certainly have gone out of our way to make it a better place to be and hopefully clean, but well, that's fingers crossed. But we also do have the art classes we're offering. I saw LB is going to offer his boat safety class in July. So we're getting optimistic, but with an eye with caution, and we will limit the class if need be, dependent on IHP's guidelines in the state. We have an art show in August. And a really exciting thing that Susie knows about is that Staley Sednawi and Heidi DuPont have been working on a cookbook together. And the proceeds, it's called the Fisher's Island Cookbook. And I believe it's been 20 years since the last cookbook was published. And so proceeds will be going to IHP. And we're really looking forward to unveiling this. And that will be determined probably by Memorial Day. We'll have a better idea of when its big debut will be. But we have dog grooming service 2 days a week by appointment only with Stacy Hoke. And I want to highlight a podcast that is known as Fisher's Island Shorts, and it's provided by Oidy Kuipers. He has been, he is doing recordings with people on island, conversations here and now. You can hear one of his audios on fishersisland.net when he did record David Hoke, because we do offer the movie nights every Thursday night from 7 to 9, even though it's very low attendance. You'd probably be the only one in there, but they are being offered. And Oidy has recorded David Hoke on some of the movies that he's offering, and he will be continuing to offer recordings, and they will be posted on our website as well as on fishersisland.net. And those are just some of the things you can look forward to. So thank you. Let's make it a good summer and a safe summer.
Thanks so much, Jeannie. And again, for anybody on the call here, any questions for any of the organizations or any of the topics that we discussed tonight can be sent in either directly, via the chat function. Please send in directly to Mary Beth or to Willard or to Candy Whitman. Please, those can go in on the chat function. Thanks again, Jeannie. I'm going to turn it over right now to Peter Lawrence and Dave Cugini for an update at the Fishers Island Club and your plans.
Thanks, Dickie. It's a pleasure to be on the call today. And I also want to give a huge shout out to the vaccination troops. It is a game changer for the island. It's a game changer for our summer planning, frankly, knowing that the island has done its best to protect its residents. We will be doing the same. And Dave, I'm glad to turn it over to you to go through some of the detail, if that makes sense.
Sure, we're happy to do so. And I echo Peter's information and thanks to everyone for all their help with the vaccination and all. It's truly tremendous what everyone was able to put together. So thank you very much. And also, I just want to echo also Dr. Ingram's comments that obviously as we kind of put together our protocols, they are a work in progress, and we hope to we'll have everything nailed down towards as we get closer to May and closer to the season. But for right now, the club plans to operate the 2021 season in a safe and enjoyable environment for both its members and staff. Our plan is to have both the main clubhouse and beach club facilities operational within the New York State guidelines. The club will open the golf course on May 1st and the tennis and food and beverage operations as of the Memorial Day weekend. At the moment, the club will allow accompanied guest play on both the golf course and tennis courts, and we're requesting that the membership do their due diligence and confirm that all guests will have a negative COVID-19 test or will be fully vaccinated before entering the club grounds. The club will follow many of the protocols established in 2020 as it refers to the masks and social distancing. And as we prepare for the upcoming season, the club is requesting that all of our employees arrive to the island with a negative COVID test and/or for those who have been eligible, fully vaccinated if possible. We'll also look into the quarantine aspect for those employees that are required to, and also in order to kind of protect the fellow employees, its membership, and of course the Fishers Island community, as they will be using the libraries and the grocery stores and things of that sort. As we kind of take a look at some things, we'll adjust our protocols accordingly based on any changes when the pandemic to properly protect the membership, staff, and island community, and just hope to look forward to offering a much more a fun summer as opposed to last year, and as we kind of open things up. So it's where we are for the time being.
Thank you very much, Dave, and Peter too. Peter, anything else?
No, except that we're buying as much time as we possibly can, as everyone else is, waiting to see how New York regulations evolve and all the rest of it. And as frankly, the surrounding states at least begin to open up their vaccine protocols to essentially all adults. I think that's happening. It's about to happen in New York. I think it's happening in Connecticut. And again, that's to the extent that we can track our members and their guests and confirm that they've been vaccinated, I think we'll all be in better shape and safer for the summer. So that's the plan. We're holding off as long as we can before we set our protocols in stone. And that's totally sort of loose, because I think those protocols will change throughout the summer, for sure.
Yeah, well, we will hopefully give you opportunities to provide updates along the way. Thank you, Peter and Dave. And Thanks. Then Candy, I think, are you by proxy providing an update for Bill Bloth at the Fishers Island store?
I am, yes. Thank you, Dickie. So just like all the other entities on the island, the market is anticipating a better set of protocols, easier for us, but nonetheless, there are some things that they've asked us to be prepared for as the season arrives. First of all, they're not anticipating any stocking problems as there were this time last year, so that should not be an issue. As of June 1, they are not requiring gloves as you enter the store. Those of us who have been on island over the winter know that you need to put on gloves that they provide. Instead, there will be hand sanitizer there at the door. They ask that we use hand sanitizer before we go in. Masks will be mandatory, continue to be mandatory throughout the summer. And they are still seeking ways to avoid crowding in the store. You'll remember that last year, they limited the number of people who could be in the store at any given time. This year, they're asking us to self-monitor. So along those lines, they ask that we plan our trips with a shopping list so that we're not lingering in the store any longer than is necessary, that we might limit how many people we go shopping with to keep the numbers down. And also, if we bump into a friend and we're tempted to have a long conversation, we might reconsider, keep our socializing short, continue outside perhaps, just so they can keep people moving. There are still many of us who are concerned about going into a place that appears crowded for good reason. So they're asking us to observe these things and expecting actually a very smooth, good season. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy. And again, any questions for the organizations, please use the chat function. But you know, as we sit here as a community, having heard now from the community center, from the Fishers Island Club, and from the Fishers Island Village Market, you know, these three organizations, among a couple others, including maybe the Ferry District, are the largest organizations and the ones with which we as Islanders have the most communication, the most touch points. And so they're really bellwethers for the planning for many, many other organizations on the island. And by overall giving us all confidence as we approach this busy summer season ahead, trying to get back to as much of a normal approach to that season as we can. So thank you very much. And Willard, I guess that's it. Anything else from the organizations?
No, I just think that you did mention that we hope that many of the other organizations would update us or would update the community as their plans begin to meld together. And if any of those of you that are on and want to participate and update the community in the May meeting, the May meeting will be the second Tuesday of the month. We won't try to impose on your Memorial Day weekend, and we also want to be ahead of that. So it will be the second Tuesday of the month at 5 o'clock, and you can just email or text either Mary Beth or myself or Dickie, and let us know that you want to be on and report what the thoughts are or plans are for your organization. With that, we have two additional things. One is the bylaws review, which Dickie will take the lead on again. He's our head of governance on the board, and he and George DeMonil and Michael Roberts has been helping them tremendously from the legal aspect, are going to do a short presentation. We know it's 5:40, and we promise that we will be off by 6 o'clock. We're also going to have Beth Cashel as the new neighborhood aide say a couple of words at the end. But I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dickie, and I think you're going to do a screen share.
Thank you. Yeah, I am. Mary Beth, I need you to turn on screen sharing for me. I just tried and it isn't working. Or you can share that document that I shared with you earlier.
Mary Beth, I think I just took care of it as co-host. Dickie, can you get on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you again, Willard, and a big thanks to Michael Roberts and to George DeMonil, my partner in crime here, as we go through what can seem somewhat mundane and perhaps a little boring to people, but really is the foundation for everything we're able to do and how we communicate with the island. Just a quick background, the ICB, we've been working on revisions to our bylaws. They were last revised in 2016, and a thanks to Barry Bryan for his work on that version. The current version from 2016 does contain some irregularities, has created some confusion, and we've been working to address that. The way it is currently structured is that we have 3 classes, each of which has a vote, and it's the 3 year-round directors who are elected. I'm one of those people. There are I'm one of the seasonal directors. So there are 3 year-round directors, 3 seasonal directors, and then we have, as needed, between 8 and 14 that are appointed organizational directors. So we just heard from Jeannie Cook as an example, representing the community center. The purpose of our revisions was that we wanted to better clarify the definition of a quorum so that we're doing things the right way. And it's not just hoping that 60, 70 people show up at a meeting. And then also to clarify who among the board should have voting rights. This is really where the confusion emanated from last year. Willard nicely put together this box in the middle. When does the ICB actually vote? When does the board vote? You heard us vote earlier today on administrative matters, approving the minutes, approving the budget, approving a disbursement of funds, whatever that might be. And then we also will vote on issues facing the community, including any issues regarding what the town of Southold has asked us for, and what is the consensus opinion of the island. Again, going back to that mission statement that Willard read at the beginning of the meeting. The rationale for the revisions, I'm scrolling down and hopefully you can all see this, is that we want to improve the governance of the corporation in order to make it more effective and responsive to the needs of the community, and recognize that the current structure has 2 flaws. The first is that it's cumbersome because it's requiring the need to notify, consult, and coordinate meetings and voting among a minimum of 14 individuals, all of those listed people at the top of this document. It also acknowledges that the present structure is undemocratic. And I'd really like to, again, thank Michael Roberts for his view as an attorney on this. It's undemocratic because it's allowing island organizations, in theory, to use their representation on this board to block initiatives that may be otherwise supported by the broader community without having to take a public position on that matter. That's an important distinction, and it was one that actually, to the credit of a few organizations, was brought up for us last summer as we discussed a couple of the initiatives facing the island then. The best corporate governance practice would be for the corporation to act as directed by its members, acting through their elected representatives, and that's us as the elected directors. So we have some proposed revisions, and what we're going to do is to share these revisions among all of the directors, among the entire community, everybody on the that's involved with the ICB, to gain your input. The proposed revisions are that we will make the organizational directors advisory, and advisory only, by eliminating the right to vote. And we will change the quorum requirements so that it's 2/3 of the total number of year-round and seasonal directors and not 1/3 of the entire board of directors. That just becomes so cumbersome to look around a Zoom call and count all the people that are on the call or not on the call. Again, the mission below there in that box that hasn't changed. It's not changing at all, and it remains our North Star as an island community board, the same thing that Willard read to us before. Again, this document is going to be sent around to everybody for review. The purpose of today's introduction was really to tell you what we've been working on and the very simple revisions that are going to be recommended to the community.
Thanks, Dickie. Just when he says it's going to be sent around, we're gonna post it on the website, and we're going to send it to the 600 odd emails that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. So another reason that if you know someone who's active and interested and we don't have their email because they're not getting our communication, then please get that information to Mary Beth. George or Michael, do you have anything you want to add?
Willard, I got a request in the chat to, this will be posted on the website, these revisions to the bylaws on the ICB website tab, but some of the community director, organization directors would like to see a printed version?
Yeah, they're all going to get it.
Yeah, it's going to
Okay.
be, it'll be sent directly to all the organizational directors, and by email. It'll be posted. You'll have a hard time not getting it.
Is that the secretary's responsibility? Because she could do that.
The secretary is going to do
Okay, she will.
that.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And absolutely, it's going to go to all of the organizational directors, which is included in that 600 number, but as well.
I would just like briefly to add that the motive here is to make your ICB more effective. And in that sense, it's therefore in the interest of everybody. It's in the interest of the organizations who are on the board and who will remain on the board, very importantly. It also is worth saying that what we're doing here is putting into words what has effectively been the practice. If you look at the last few years, by and large, when there was an issue, for instance, there was some discussion about the plans for the waste management, other organizations really, very understandably, did not want to get involved. They figured, well, this is for the ICB to try and see what the consensus is. And so the question is, who is the ICB? And I think that's what we're trying to answer. And the answer is, it's everybody. And the best way for it to be everybody, since everybody can't show up at every meeting and do everything, is for them to elect representatives. And the representatives have fixed terms. At the end of 6 years of being an ICB rep, the bylaws say that you step off for a year. The beauty of an election, as I'm sure you all know, is that you can throw the guys out. If you don't like what they're doing, you throw them out. I think that it's worth also just ending with the fact, I think that ever since ICB was put together in 2005, and basically there was the Civic Association before it, election has been a central, if not enormously broadcast element of how the ICB was run. And that is what will continue to be. I think that maybe one further thing to say is that the plan is to send the proposed bylaw changes and the summary, as Dickie said, to everyone. That's 650, and put it available on websites and so forth, and ask for comments by the May meeting, which means by the second Tuesday in May. And I think, frankly, we'll have to honestly ask for comments by a week before or several days before the May meeting. And then at the May meeting, then our intention is to ask Jane Aarons, who is a pro at this, to do what she's done before for when we've voted. And as a community, when all the members have voted, is that there are two ways to vote. And one of them is we will have an electronic ballot that will be sent out to everybody. And it'll sort of look like the symptom tracker, except that when, instead of answering, am I blue in the face, you'll say, am I for these changes or am I against these changes? And you'll send it back. We'll also have an option so that people can physically come and deposit a ballot. Maybe we'll ask Jane if the community center is willing to receive them, because some people on the island, for instance, have one email address per family, and yet there may be 2 adult members. And so one of them could answer by email and the other one can drop off a ballot. We did this a couple of years ago. It worked very well. Jane is a pro at it, and we're confident that what all of you want is what will happen.
Thanks, George. We have 10 minutes left. I promised that all meetings will be only an hour. So with that, I'd like to, and we can answer questions after the hour. But and so as Dickie said, if you have questions you want to send them in the chat room, we'll focus on them. But let's get a brief update from Beth Cashel. As you know, the town of Southold created this neighborhood aid position. Mayor took that position. The town of Southold, and then mayor left that position, and the town of Southold sort of revamped how they wanted it positioned. And so Beth will go over that, her role vis-a-vis the ICB and vis-a-vis the community and interface with Southold. So Beth, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Willard.
Thanks.
Yeah, so as the neighborhood aide for Fishers Island, I work directly with the town manager of Southold, which is Scott Russell, as you all know. And I serve as a liaison between Fishers Island and the town. My role is first and foremost as a conduit, a communications bridge between the island and the town, in order to, 1, streamline and improve the communication between Fishers and Southold, to increase efficiency and build relationships, to identify alignment of interests between the island and the town, to communicate Fishers Island consensus opinion to the town, and to provide faster follow-through on the town side for Fishers Island agenda items. To that end, a few updates that I have this month for the town for Fishers are: one issue that has been going on, as everyone knows, for a very long time, are sidewalks. I'd like to report that there's been an approval by the town to replace portions of the sidewalks on the western side of Crescent Avenue between Oriental Avenue and Athol Crescent, the sidewalk on the eastern side of Crescent Avenue from Athol Crescent to Fox Avenue, the sidewalk on the southern side of Fox Avenue from Crescent Avenue to a point opposite the eastern property boundary of the grocery store. I actually have a much more helpful photo that I will send to Jane to post, or to Mary Beth to post, so you can have a visual of that, because it would be much more helpful than what I just reported. Bids for this will be advertised as of April 22nd, so you have a date of action. The bids have to be returned by May 13th. They're hoping for the work to be completed by July 4th. One really great news that I'd like to report is in terms of the DMV. A bill has been passed in the State Assembly that was put forward by our Assemblyman, Jody Giglio, to get DMV on Fishers. Specifically, this bill will enact the Commissioner of Transportation to deputize a person to renew licenses, registrations, number plates for people living on Fishers Island. And this person will also be able to administer written and road tests and eye examinations and photograph the registrations and number plates from a place on Fishers Island twice annually for a period of not less than 2 days. So that's huge. The action required, which I will be taking, will be to follow up with the town and the Assemblyman's office to move enactment of this new bill forward. This is just, for anyone living on the island will understand what a huge, important move this is. Another issue that's been brought up many times is the building inspector and delays in that area. For there has been, the town is in the process of hiring a new plans examiner and a building inspector. This is an item, and these hires are something they're working on to achieving this month. So it is something that is an immediate action item. Another item that some may know about and some may not, that I just wanted to bring up, is that there's been regarding the Dock Beach Town Park. Nancy Hunt Parsons has been in communication with Tim Abrams, who is the head of our DPW, on improving this area. The action required that I will be doing and reporting back to you all is following up with the town, Tim, and Nancy, as well as IPP, to get a little bit more information to report back to the community. Also, in terms of public hearings, there's a lot of town public hearings. You can go to the town to find out that. There's two that I just want to highlight that may be of interest to members of the community to look at, and these are zoning hearings. Both of these Jane has put on Fishnet for further information, but I just wanted to highlight them. The amendment to Chapter 280, which is a hearing on April 20th, which has to do with change in zoning regarding corner lots. This is something that may be of interest to members of the island, so I refer you to fishersisland.net for more information on this. A second public hearing, which is planned for May 18th in terms of zoning, is regarding an amendment for recreation uses. This will address issues concerning accessory recreation uses. For Fishers Island, this is relevant in that this change will impact the community center's paddle court project. So again, if you'd like a little bit more information on what that hearing is, please go to the fishersisland.net, and then you can go to hear the hearing on the specific dates. And that information on how to get to those hearings and the dates and the links, again, thanks to Jane, are on our website. Another point I just want to end with is the town had this past week, on April 6th, the town had a working session. And in that session, the Seagrass Coalition did an amazing presentation, one worth everyone going on and looking on, and it is actually a video on the town site where you can see it again. And the town, the follow-up or the feedback from the town in this is that they really support the coalition's continued work and development of a management plan. And again, if you're interested in seeing the presentation that they did to the town, please go to the town session on the town's meeting. So on Southold, there is a site that offers you the ability to look at all the meetings from the town site, zoning meetings, all the various committee meetings. And they have the agendas, the meeting notes, and in this case, they have a video so you can see the actual presentation. So that's all I have, and I will continue to work on your behalf on increasing the communication between the town and Fishers Island. And I hope as this continues to develop, the action items for Fishers Island between the town and on the town's agenda will move forward. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you very much. And great presentation. And, you know, all I can say is that I've been working on the sidewalks for 5.5 years. And I think you did it in, 5.5 days. So congratulations on getting them to give us a specific for the bids. And I hope we get some of the Fishers Island contractors to bid and possibly win those bids to put the sidewalks in. Great. Well, with 2 minutes to spare, we'll open it up to questions and answer questions that people might have. And for the most part, it looks most of the questions have been made to everyone and been answered by someone. Just a couple of things, clarity. The board members of the ICB are elected for 2 3-year consecutive terms. Voting is in August. And I think we have 2 people, Candy Whitman and Dickey, will be going off the board at the end of this summer, sadly. And we will be looking for 2 new representatives, one from seasonal and one from year-round, to join the board. Another question, which I didn't understand, do we have a plan for reporting vaccinations completed by those returning to the island? I think Susie did answer that by saying that IHP is going to be asking every single person that's been vaccinated to through my chart to send Di a picture of their vaccination card.
You don't have to do it through my chart, but just send it
Right,
to Di's
exactly.
email and she'll get it into your chart.
Sorry, thank you. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Then there's been one suggestion that perhaps we raise some funds to paint the police barracks and plant flowers so that the building looks a little better. And I'll leave that to somebody that wants to take that on as a project, and we'll certainly give them plenty of voice and plenty of opportunity to try to make that happen. Di's email has been posted on the chat room, but I'll give it to you again. It is diana.shillow@lmhosp.org. Susie, you want to confirm that for me?
That is correct. I did post it way at the top, second
Right.
chat, and Mary Beth just posted it again.
Okay, great.
Or somebody did.
Any other questions that we have?
No.
Willard, I have one more.
Okay,
Early on, I got a request in the chat asking where contributions to the ICB should be sent. They can be sent through PayPal if you use that, but directly to P.O. Box 371, Fishers Island, New York, 06390, addressed to the Island Community Board, made out to Island Community Board, ICB, whatever works.
great.
Send them in.
Thank you. Any other questions? If
I think
not,
there's a question about the rec path update.
oh, I didn't see that. Go ahead. Oh, yeah. I don't think John McGillian's on, but maybe we can get, I just see that question now, but maybe we can get an update from him at the next meeting. And we have Tom Sargent telling me that the Conservancy maintains that barrack, so maybe that's the way to go to provide some funds to the Conservancy so that they can keep that looking nice.
Yeah, Willard, this is Tom. Just briefly, we're happy to talk to anybody, any suggestions. Obviously, it dovetails with the Thatcher Native demonstration garden next door, and we've been slowly moving over and have done much around the barracks. Obviously, it's not within our purview to paint the barracks, but I'm certainly open to any ideas or any thoughts anyone might have for planting. To reach out to either myself or Kristen Peterson, the executive director of the Conservancy.
Thanks, Tom.
And Willard, I don't have much of an update, but I can give a little one from John that I got earlier today on the rec path, which was just that looks like Jimmy Ski is more than halfway done with the clearing of the new path. And I think that the rec path also plans to hand out bike bells at the gatehouse this summer.
Excellent. Great.
But that's all I have.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much for joining. It was great. We had, I think, 75 participants, which is wonderful. We will have a very full meeting in the beginning of May. I think we'll have quite a few organizations reporting, and I think Chris expects to have a bit of an update with more information from, as Peter Lawrence said, from maybe we'll have more from New York State and from the CDC as well. With that, I thank everybody for joining, and we will see you in a month.
Thank you, Willard.
Thanks, Willard.
Thank you.
Thanks, Willard.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thank
nice
you,
evening.
Willard.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.